What is going on? We got some material to review today, and I always just love this. I always just love this topic because this used to be something that was never a big deal, but since we started getting all these quote unquote allegations, and since Gen Z started to really get to the age of dating, now we get to witness firsthand what social isolation, feminism, and the Me Too movement all combined, we get to witness what effects it's having on society.
Breaking news, this video is going viral and causing controversy. Check this out.
I feel like now it's so hard to find guys that even just in general have drive in life. I feel like it's so different, and I don't know, I personally never get approached. I never. Maybe something's wrong with me. I don't know. But I feel like then whenever I talk about it, everyone's like, oh well, they want the girl to go up to them. What? When did this change? When did this change?
Now, there's pretty much two groups of people responding to this video. One group is very upset at this video. They're asking questions like, why would you want a traditional relationship where the man is supposed to be masculine? That's so not 2023. But the other group is pretty much saying, what did you expect to happen? That they can be in touch with their emotions. They can, wear dresses. They can, engage in their feminine side.
Damn.
So I'm not going to bullshit you about this. Most younger guys, okay, if we're being honest, are a little bit nervous about cold approach, right? They don't have the confidence, they don't have the social skills or social experience really that a lot of older guys do because they haven't put in those reps. And just because we spend so much time inside, video games, all that kind of stuff. So there's that aspect of it where it's there's the lack of confidence, right? And kind of being a little bit nervous of approaching and being rejected. No one likes being rejected. But on the other side of things, there's a lot of older guys and even some younger guys who have put in the reps and who are confident and have no problem approaching. They just don't want to do it. They just don't want to deal with constantly getting rejected, playing the numbers game, and potentially ending up on TikTok or social media. So I totally get it. And it's kind of putting the onus onto ladies to have to really make it very clear that you're interested. Even this woman here is complaining that she can't, or that she doesn't want to approach, or she doesn't know what's happening because men aren't approaching her. It's well, you might have to start making it very obvious that you're into a guy so that he actually is, less worried or nervous about coming up to you and you claiming some sort of harassment or something. But at the end of the day, guys are really backing off of this sort of way of kind of meeting people, and as society gets more isolated and more socially inept, this is going to become a skill that's harder and harder and harder for men to get good at.
To find guys that even just in general have drive in life.
It's also pretty funny to me that she's sitting here talking about how it's really hard to find guys who have drive in life. It's the guys that you're around are going to be younger, right? So they're not going to have all of this status and wealth that you're oh, guys don't have drive. No, it's just because they're younger. They're working on themselves. They're getting themselves built up to that point. And that's the issue, is a lot of the women who are within the age bracket that you might be in if you're a younger guy, a lot of them are looking for guys who are higher up, right? Are further in life and further up the socioeconomic scale. So you might go after, a woman and she's oh no, rejects you. And part of that has to do with the fact that she's looking at the guy who's maybe, 30 years old, 35 years old, who has a little bit more of his life together and has more things together versus living at his mom's house, no job, and, just trying to survive. So it's just such a mess out here, man.
Is it me? Yes. Is it just me, or do men not approach women anymore? I'm not the approaching type. I can't approach anyone. But I saw some fun.
This is also the funny thing between men and women is she goes, I am not the approaching type. But the reality is approaching is a skill, right? It's a social skill that you learn. It's not about being a type. Yeah, some people naturally are born with more confidence than others or more ability to speak and stuff, but it's something that you develop by practice. And this is what women don't understand is when you first start cold approaching, if you're new at it, you're going to suck, right? You're going to suck at doing it. But over time, you develop a skill, you develop an awareness, you develop an ability to say the right things and kind of understand really subtle body language and expressions and things like that. So it's not about being an approaching type. It's about actually having the skill to do it. And today it's just getting harder and harder to do because women's standards are so high that the average guy, when they approach, they just get rejected.
Fine, man. Did you see some?
I did.
Yeah, we just went to Black on a Block in Texas. Saw some gorgeous men. But none of them approached me. And I'm not the approaching type. I can't do it. But if you approach me, I am nice.
Yeah, okay. And that's the other thing. That's the other problem is, you know, these women will say, oh, we want to be approached and whatnot. But if you're the wrong type of guy, if you're not the guy that she finds attractive, you're going to get rejected. And she might not do it in the nicest way. She might, you know, she might make a scene, or she might publicly embarrass you, or she might put you on TikTok or social media and be like, oh, look at this idiot who thought he could approach me. So that's another reason why guys don't really like to do it. And I totally understand that. It's like, yeah, you don't really want to end up in that situation. The other thing is, she's at this bar, right? She's at this bar. She sees these guys who she calls, you know, fine or whatever. She likes them. Did she make it apparent? Like, did she make it apparent that she was actually interested in them? Because most likely she was standing there and doing something like maybe she would glance over once in a while. They weren't even looking. And then she would look back. And then she wasn't actually making it clear that she was interested. And or these guys just weren't interested in her.
I'm just about to be single for forever.
You wonder why men no longer approach. Well, do you modern women give men any incentives to approach you?
Facts.
Nope. Let's see what they had to say in the comments. I stopped approaching because the answer was always no, or I have a boyfriend. So I completely gave up. Guess I was born to be single, and I still don't understand how my friends are in relationships. This crap is impossible. If I walk up to a woman and politely announce myself with "excuse me," and her first reaction is to ignore that I'm there, I keep it moving. If she turns her head and has a RBF, I keep it moving. If she responds like it's a root canal experience acknowledging me, I keep it moving. During the brief encounter, the whole thing could be switched up by her claiming I harassed her. So I keep my camera rolling and the audio on. I stopped approaching because I don't want any harassment suits filed against me, and I'm not in the mood for dealing with being shamed publicly or privately. I focus on myself now and forever.
So, you know, that's the other argument is, oh, I don't want to be, you know, I don't want to have harassment. I don't want to be flamed on social media, which is a fair thing because it actually does happen to people. However, you have to keep in mind that that isn't going to usually happen to the average guy, right? The average guy, that's not going to happen. Those are stories that you hear. And yes, it is always a risk because you don't know who you're dealing with. And this is the problem with cold approaches. It's completely cold. You don't know the person. You don't know what experiences they've been through. You don't know how they're going to react. And so if you just walk up to the person, you don't know how it is. And that's why I always think that it's the best idea is if you're at some sort of event or you're at a party or you're at even some activity that you like to do, you actually introduce and meet the person first. And so you get that initial thing just from being within, say, the class or the event or whatever. And then you can slowly start to kind of warm up and actually build more of a connection in a relationship. I think that's a lot better than trying to just one-off some girl in the street and just walk up to her and try to get her number, because it's like 9 times out of 10 that's not going to work, because, you know, she's already in a vulnerable state and, you know, typically it's not going to work. Sometimes it does, but if you're an inexperienced guy and you're kind of new to this, it makes more sense to get your reps in a more social environment where that kind of thing is already going on and a possibility. Or if you're in a situation where it's just really obvious that she seems like she's into you, you know, you're into her, then yeah, go ahead and shoot your shot. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but at the same time, I can understand the hesitance to do this, because if you think about it, nobody wants to end up on blast.
Stop approaching women when they're alone.
No, men are weird. Stop talking to women you don't know.
Do not approach a woman who did not inspire that. No.
I hate when men approach women.
So should a guy ever approach a girl in public?
I don't think so, no.
Is it too direct for like a stranger to come off the street or in a restaurant to say, oh, I think you're really interesting, and get your number there? Is that?
Of course, because I had this type of situations. It's weird.
I don't think so, no.
So again, then you'll get conflicting messages from women where it's like, oh, why aren't men approaching anymore? Like the girl earlier in the video, she was like, oh, why aren't guys approaching me anymore? I never get approached. What the heck? And then you got women over here who are like, don't approach women out in public. It's freaky. It's scary. You know, it's weird. It's creepy. But the reality of the situation is this. I guarantee you, if this girl right here who just said, you know, I don't think they should ever be approached in public, if the perfect guy came up to her who she was really attracted to and was her type, right? And he was, you know, the alpha guy, or the, you know, the Chad that she has in her of her dreams, right? I'm sure 9 times out of 10 that he could get her number and progress to a date of some kind. But again, if you're the wrong type of guy and you're not attractive to her, which is going to be the majority of guys if we're honest, then, you know, you're shit out of luck, basically.
This year, I decided I'm going to go the full year without using any dating apps. However, I still want to meet people. So tonight, it's Friday, I'm going to go out by myself. Okay, this is what I'm going to wear.
Just passing a beer garden that was full of people with their friends. It's okay. This will be fun. Okay, that did not go well and was a little embarrassing. I'm gonna see if I can find another place to go though.
I don't know what I thought. Like, I genuinely thought that I was gonna meet people. It was just that, like, the jazz bar was too crowded. There wasn't even anywhere to sit. I'm gonna go again. I'm gonna keep trying. But that was really hard.
The reason I find this so amusing is just because this is what the average guy goes through on a daily basis if they're going up and approaching and trying to initiate some sort of communication. And it's just funny because women don't have to actually go through this, because traditionally it's been expected that men approach women and ask for the number and initiate the conversation. So it's just funny seeing women having to kind of adopt this role now, and it's tough. It's tough. Getting rejected isn't easy, you know. The other thing though is, I think people underestimate it's actually a skill, like socializing, talking to people, making friends, going out in public and just meeting people and talking to them. It's a skill. And in our generation, it's just, we're so socially inept and we have such shitty social skills that it's just hard thing to do. Like, she went out to those places, but was she just standing there the whole time? Was she just standing there, kind of just waiting for someone to come up to her? Because typically that's what women do. They go out to places, they stand around and wait for someone to come up to them and initiate that conversation. So I wonder if she was actually out there initiating and actually trying to communicate with people and make friends with people. I don't know, maybe she was, maybe she wasn't. But at the end of the day, again, when you're going out into these social environments and you're just trying to cold approach people and make friends and or get numbers of girls, like, it comes down to a numbers game, and it comes down to your skill level. So the more you can improve your skill at communicating, and basically the better you get at marketing, then the more sales or closes you're going to make. That's what I kind of think of it as, is it's just like marketing and sales, right? When you are marketing, because I used to do real estate, and so when you're doing marketing, you're doing a lot of cold calling, right? And reaching out and cold DMs, cold emails, cold calls, and you need to actually get good at that. But you also need to just do a sheer amount of it, right? You might need to make 100 calls in order to get 6 leads, and then those 6 leads turn into 1 sale. So if you think about that in the context of women and getting numbers and stuff, you might need to approach 100 women to get 6 numbers, and then out of those 6 numbers you might get a date or 1 date. So it really comes down to just the numbers, and obviously you can improve your numbers by getting better at it, but you can only get better at it by doing it. And so I don't know. I don't know when it comes down to cold approach, honestly. Let me know what you think down in the comments. I think in certain situations it makes sense. The reality is, being on dating apps is not that much better, because all the top tier guys are the ones getting all the action. So if you're on a dating app and you're not a good looking guy, you're not a guy who's gone on his self-improvement journey and actually become something, then going on dating apps is not going to be the easiest bet for you. So those are really the options. I guess the third option would just be to completely go MGTOW and get out of the dating pool, which a lot of people are doing, or use freaking some sort of AI or robots or something. So let me know down in the comments which method you think is best: cold approach, online dating, or just going MGTOW, getting out of the dating market and like going with AI or something like that. All right, that's going to be it for this one. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.